Sean Diddy Combs has been sentenced to federal prison. Let's talk about it. All right. It says here, Sean Diddy Combs sentenced to 50 months behind bars. And I've been hearing a lot of people talk about this, and this is interesting because he, as we all know now, that he has been convicted of 2 counts of violation of the Mann Act, which is transportation to engage in prostitution across state lines. And he was convicted on 2 counts of that. And each count, as you all know, carried a maximum sentence of 10 years each. The judge elected to give him 50 months, which is approximately 4 years and 4 years and 2 months. And of course, as we all know, you've heard a lot of people talk about it in the prison system, in the federal prison system, you have to serve 85% of your time. So if you take 50 and multiply it times 85%, you get around roughly, so 42 and a half months, somewhere around there. And of course, he will be credited with the 12 or 13 months that he's been in there. So he's looking at right around 29 and a half to 30 months where he have to be in there. And even while he's in there, he can take advantage of a couple of prison programs. I've heard many people talk about RDAP program, which is residential drug abuse program, rather, where you can go in there. But that's not an automatic end, because you have to have a certain amount of time left on your sentence before you can get in. And then you have to have a verifiable drug substance abuse problem. And then you put on the waiting list, and that waiting list is long. And so there's no guarantee that he'll get that. So no one really knows what he'll be able to do. Some people are even speculating that even after he does like 2 years, which is 24 months, they'll probably send him out in his last 6 months to a halfway house. So all these things are possible, but what I'm not hearing is a lot of people talking about the actual full sentence that the judge gave him. So let's look at it here. It says the judge sentenced Sean Diddy Combs to 50 months in prison. And then he fined him $500,000 and then ordered 5 years of supervised release. Now, so we already discussed the prison sentence, you know, how that can work out. We know those parameters. But also, you know, he's been fined $500,000. You know, and I'm sure Sean Diddy Combs has been reported that he's a man of resources, so that shouldn't be a problem. But also ordered 5 years supervised release. And let me just tell you, a lot of people are not really talking about that part, the supervised release. Supervised release, as we see here, is a period of community supervision imposed by the court to be completed after release from a jail or prison sentence. So even after Diddy serves however many months he's going to serve, because there's a lot of speculation going on, but however many months he's going to serve, the judge, as you see, sentenced him here to 5 years of supervised release. Now, what exactly is that? If we look here at the federal code 3553, is when the court imposes a sentence regarding supervised release after imprisonment. These are the things that the judge will set up or order the defendant to do even after they come home from doing their prison sentence. And as you can see here, it's going to be a lot of conditions. So it's going to be tantamount to what you hear about people being on probation, because they're going to have conditions. So, and that's for 5 years. And if you look at the subsection D here, the conditions of supervised relief, according to this federal law right here, because he was convicted of a federal crime. So the federal laws is going to attach here, and it says the court shall order that while he's on the supervised release, that he cannot commit any other federal, state, or local crimes during supervision. It says, or any other statute authorizing a sentence of restitution. Here's a big one: the defendant not unlawfully possess a controlled substance. It also goes on to say here, which is a big one here, that the court shall order an explicit condition of supervised release for a person to be required to register under the Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act. Now, whenever you're convicted of any sex crime under federal law, you got to register with this national registry. They call it SORNA for short, SORNA, Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act. Now, I haven't seen the terms, the specific conditions in terms of Diddy's supervised release, but it's going to be highly possible that the judge is going to order him, since he was convicted of 2 counts of violation of the Mann Act regarding transportation to engage in prostitution across state lines. Well, prostitution by most state laws and federal laws is a sex crime. I'm sure there's some states say, no, not here, but for the most part, most states look at it as a sex crime. And when you're convicted of a sex crime, you're gonna have to register. And that's what Diddy is looking at. And that's 5 years after he's released. So prison time is not the only thing that he has to worry about. When you're under supervised release, you can't violate, as you see, you can't violate any laws, federal, state, local, it doesn't matter. He's probably gonna have to be submitted to checking in with some sort of federal officer while he's on a supervised release. I'm not sure if they'll put some sort of monitoring device on him. I'm not sure, but he will have to deal with this for 5 years after his incarceration, because as you see, that's what the judge sentenced him to 5 years of supervised release. So in essence, Sean Diddy Combs has to deal with the federal government for at least another 89 months, which is right around what is that, 8.5 years, 7.5 years, 8.5 years, because he's going to do at least 85% of his of the 50-month sentence, and subtract the year he's already done. So when you look at that, anywhere between 24 to another 60 months at it, he's going to have to be dealing with the federal government, not to mention the numerous amount of lawsuits that he's facing, and whatever else may come out of this. So that's his sentence in a whole. I'm not seeing a lot of people talk about that, but that is a big deal. Yes, he was facing life in prison, but his legal team helped him get acquitted on those 2, but he's still stuck with these 2 convictions of the Mann Act, and that's why you have him being ordered and sentenced with this sentence. So to some people, they say, hey, this is a good deal. So what? He can go 20-something months and then do 5 years after that on supervised release. No big deal. Hey, he's not missing, it's not life. True. And some people's like, oh my gosh, wow, that much time he has to deal with the federal government. Yeah, the federal government will be dealing with him for the 5 years after his supervised release. That's what the judge ordered. So you tell me, guys, what do you think about this sentence with the months of incarceration as well as the fine? I don't think many people have an issue with the fine, because I think he'll be able to take care of that. But the 5 years of supervised release, this is a big deal. This is something that he's going to have to deal with for a long time to come. So you tell me. I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, comment, share, subscribe. It's your brother, Attorney Geoff.